An error occurred. Wait a moment and try again. What? All right, try again.
You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm thy friendship. Oh, how
you know what time it is. Roll with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lanes. Buckeyes by a billion. We in the building with over 100,000. We represent from the uttermost to the public housing. And if we don't play, our wide receivers got your secondary shook, so they cook them like Bobby Flay. Hey, stay out of my way and trust me, cause I know it's a way. Somebody please give this brother an I.O. Come on.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk about college football with real fans. I'm Devin. That's Mello. And we getting ready to rock and roll, man. It's going to be a fun show today. Got something not really a little different, but, man, we're used to talking recruiting, interviews, and stuff. We're not going to do that today. But before we get into that, hit that like button for us, please. And Mello, how's your day been, man?
Man, it's good. Got a lot of stuff done around the house. Just hung out a little bit. How about your day?
It's pretty good, man. Closed on a house. So that's always exciting to do. So a house I'm going to be living in for the next who knows how long. But I'm very excited about it. Very excited to move into that. And also dealing with some life, man. Dealing with life, dude. It happens. But on another more exciting note, dude, we need your help, Buckeye Nation, Buckeye Boys Nation, Scoop Nation. We stream on two channels. We stream on Scoop, and then we stream on our channel as well, the Buckeye Boys. Our Buckeye Boys channel is 10 months old, right? And we have 4,938 subscribers. We try and hit that 5,000 mark, man. That's going to be a big mark for us. We're going to be excited. But we need 62 of more subscriptions. So, call your cousins, call your aunts, call your friends and say, hey, we need you to go to this channel and hit the subscribe button. You ain't got to do all that, man. But if you're not subscribed, please do that. That'd be a big deal for us. Share this feed on your Instagram, Twitter, anywhere else you can for us. But Mello.
Yes, sir.
Let's dive into it, dude. What I want to do today is obviously – we won the national title, and then we switched gears to this upcoming season. And way back when, I don't know how many more months ago, every time they had a discussion about this upcoming season, it's like there's a certain player that we assume is going to start, right? The assumed starters, okay? And then we get some information coming out of the Woody about how winter workouts went and stuff like that. And now the team, I think just today, everybody came back, started workouts again. And what I want to do is go through the roster and let's talk about, right, who we believe is going to start. But now, based off of some information we found, obviously there's a lot more workouts to go and things can change. I want to talk about our top three positions where it might not actually be that assumed starter, meaning an underclassman or a different player might be sneaking up. Now, when we rate these positions, it's not because we think it's going to happen. This isn't about that. This is about just, hey, keep your eyes open here. Something could change on these workouts coming up leading into the season. Man, we think that there could be some movement depending on what shakes out in workouts and practices and different things, man. So, chat, this is for you guys as well, man. Speak up, hop in that chat, help us out with this. Let us know, man. We're just going to start at the offensive side of the ball, go through who we think the starter is going to be. And if it's one of me or Mello's positions that we think could possibly change, we'll speak up when that time comes. But let's start with quarterback, Mello. How confident are we feeling? Because I think for the most part, everybody's got Julian saying as the starter. Do we put quarterback in one of our top threes on, hey, man, there could be some movement there to where Lincoln Keenholz might be jumping up, Tavian St. Clair, whatever it is. Do we think we're pretty sure we got our starter there, or do we got a top three situation here?
So with that being said, no, I think Sayin is going to be the starter. I'm pretty confident in that. I think it's his time to hand the keys over to him now. Lincoln is a viable candidate to replace him if something happens and we need him to go in a game in an emergency type of situation. But I fully 100% expect Julian Sayin to start.
Yeah, I share you. This doesn't fall into my top three. I've been blessed to have some conversations with some players and some people that are pretty close, and that's just solidified my view on Julian saying and him being the starter. We heard what JJ Smith said coming out. He said what he said. That should have boosted your confidence a little bit in Julian saying. But with that being said, you know, the respect that Lincoln Keenholz gets is not very much in Buckeye Nation, and that's extremely confusing to me. I had the opportunity to interview his high school coach, got a little bit of insight on, the type of player he was in high school. And let me tell you, man, if Ryan Day is keeping him around and Ryan Day recruited him and he's in this quarterback room, he's good enough to play at Ohio State. We see what
Right.
happens. If they're not, they just kind of get pushed out with all the competition in the room, man. So, you can have that opinion if you want, but it's not true. Lincoln Keenholz is good enough to play here, and I think he'd be a solid backup. I just think that Cotton Bowl, man, people got that in their minds too much against Missouri, and it's really put a bad taste in their mouth when we talk about Lincoln Keenholz. That's not fair to do. But so we got that one locked down. We think Julian Sain's going to come out. Think he's going to have a heck of a year. He's obviously going to have some games where things don't go his way. I mean, that happened with Will Howard. I mean, a very experienced quarterback. So that happens in college football, but I'm confident overall. Next, let's go over to running back. For me, this is not one of my positions that I think we're going to be looking at, and one of my top three positions anyway. I think James Peoples is going to be the starter. I think CJ Donaldson is going to be a very good back to get some of those reps from James Peoples. I think he's going to get more reps than people assume. I will say that. I think he's a little better back than, especially when you put him in a room with Coach Locke, man, and let Coach Locke do his thing. I think CJ Donaldson's going to have a heck of a year, but I think James Peoples is just going to just take that starting position if you were to give one in this scenario. What about you?
See, if we had a top five, this would have been number 4 for me. So it just misses the cut.
Yeah.
For several reasons. CJ has experience. CJ came from Pitt over to Ohio State, got with Coach Mick, lost about 10 to 15 pounds. So he got quicker. West Virginia, sorry. I knew it was a blue and yellow team.
Yeah.
Lost about 10 to 15 pounds, right? So he got quicker. We know that he played wide receiver in high school, so we know he could catch the ball out of the backfield. So there's a lot that he could do. We also heard from 2 linebackers that came on our show and said, like, they're not scared to tackle anybody, but he's the one that they like tackling the least out of everybody on the team. So there's also that factor. But what I think with running back, I don't think we're going to truly see a number one. I think they're going to split reps and split time just like Trey and Q did last year. So I could not put that on my list. It just missed the cut, though, for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, I would agree. This would be one of those positions that is a little bit closer to that cut line. All right, let's go to wide receiver, man. I guess it depends. No, I think it's pretty fair to say that the assumed starters, J.J. Smith, Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis. That's a fair thing to say, right?
Absolutely.
That would be the group of assumed starters. And I got the privilege of hanging out with them a little bit a couple weekends ago. I forget when, but it wasn't very long ago. Brandon Ennis has changed his body. He's looking thinner. I'm guessing that's going to be to make him a little bit quicker as well. Now, he's still up there on his muscle. We saw a recent video of him training with a couple NFL wide receivers, but I think this one's a lock. Mello, how about you?
Same. I think those are the 3 is going to be SFE trifecta starting. And I think we'll see Bryson Rogers rotate in and a little bit of Mylan Graham and stuff, and Quincy Porter, obviously. But I think those are going to be the main 3, game in and game out.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. And Mylan Graham, Bryson Rogers, I think those players right there, they're going to be, getting some reps in this room, but we'll see how much that is. I got to meet Mylan Graham as well. We saw him in the spring game and saw how good of a receiver he is, but I will tell you, right, and this is just expected. Him being a sophomore, seeing him in person, and J.J. Smith, Carnell Tate, and Brandon Ennis, there's a pretty big physical development difference there. There just is. I mean, I'm just keeping it real. You could tell, hey, man, these three, all right, J.J. Smith is just kind of a freak, right? But
Yeah.
Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis, they've been in this program, man. You could tell physically. But Mylan Graham got it done in the spring game, but I'm just saying physically in person looks a little bit, you could tell he's a sophomore, right? But that doesn't mean he's not going to get on the field. Here we go, man. Let's go to no, tight end.
Yep.
I'm assuming, right? Everybody assumes Max Clare is going to be the starter here. That is not in my top three. I think that's just what that's going to be honest. But I do think that's going to be a little bit fluid depending on the set that they want to come out in, depending on the play call. So you got Will Kazmarek. They're going to come out and be running the ball a bunch. Max Clare might not be in. I don't really know, though, but I'm going to say Max Clare is going to be the starter, and I think that's a pretty safe bet. It's not my top three. Mello, what about you?
Not my top three. I think Max Clare is a starter. I think Jelani's number two behind him. I'm firm in that belief. And I think Jelani's going to have a lot to prove and a lot to say this season. I think he's going to make a lot of Buckeye fans happy and true believers.
Yeah. I'm excited about our tight end room. What Keenan Bailey does, it was a little bit of a rough start for Keenan and gaining the trust of this fan base, but definitely on the recruiting trail. And then what our tight ends did on the field this year, I think that trust has been building with Keenan Bailey. And I think it's just going to get better, man. I like where the room is headed. No doubt about it. This next one, offensive line. This is my number one that I think there's going to be some changes. So let's go with the assumed starters. I think right now it's a pretty safe bet to assume that Austin Cerebell is going to be our right tackle, that Tegra Shabola is going to be our right guard, Carson Hinsman will be our center, Luke Montgomery will be our left guard, and Ethan Anianwa will be our left tackle. So this is my number one as far as I'm going to keep an eye out here. There might be a little bit differences to what I just said. Before I go into detail, Mel, I want to hear, is this one of those positions for you as well? And if so, what number is it?
Yeah, this is definitely on my list. And this one for me came in third. So
okay.
it actually works out pretty well in the prospect of working backwards for me so far. But for me, I have Austin Cerebell starting, obviously. The position and location is different for me. I have him starting at right guard, and I have Phillip Daniels starting at right tackle. And then the rest as should be with Ethan and Luke and Carson Hinsman.
I got you. And again, I want to reiterate, we're not saying this is going to happen, but I will tell you this. If I base any of these predictions off what I've been told from people that I consider sources, this is why this group's number one, because I've been told something kind of similar to you, but a little bit different, and that is Phillip Daniels might be hard to keep off the field this year. Now, I don't know if that looks like Tegra starting the first couple games, but that's the one that I see Phillip Daniels maybe pushing a little bit. Maybe they split some time. Maybe he just straight up takes that spot. But I think Austin Cerebell is going to stay at right tackle. And believe it or not, I think Phillip Daniels might fill in at the guard role a little bit. So I just think it's something to keep an eye on. I think we've got a really solid room, a lot of competition going on in right there, a lot of hungry young offensive linemen. And we saw the fluidity last year that, the coaching staff used. I think that's going to happen this year. I think you might see some changes happening with some players pushing some other players, but I really like what I've been hearing and what I heard previously about Phillip Daniels coming into this room. You got other players like Gabe Van Sickle really stepping up, Ian Moore really stepping up, Josh Padilla really stepping up, Jake Cook, the freshman 3-star for everybody that's tripping about star rankings. isn't our two deep already at a guard position. I tell you, he looks the part. That dude is a monster. But all right, so there we go. Broke down the offensive side of the ball, and there was only one of our top three groups in there to maybe keep an eye on as far as starting position goes. So let's go to the defensive side of the ball, Mello. I'm going to start further away from the ball here. Let's start at safety. This is a little bit hard one to pick on what the assumption is, but I went with the assumption that Caleb Downs and Jalen McClain are going to be the starters. We saw what Jalen McClain did last year. He got on the field before Malik Hartford. That was, I believe, Malik Hartford was injured, but I think
Yeah.
that just McClain really showed up and showed out on the field. So I don't know if everybody assumes that is the starters, but for the sake of this, I'm going to say that that's the assumption. Caleb Downs, Jalen McClain is going to start. And for me, this is probably number 2 on my list if we're going to use Jalen McClain as a starter, because I think Malik Hartford is going to start. Been hearing some really good things about how focused he is this offseason, because he knows that situation. Us fans know Jalen McClain is pressing. Well, so does he. And he has been waiting a long time. And I heard he put his head down and he is getting it. And I think he's going to show up and show up. Mello, what about you in this position?
Well, this does not make my list. I do think Jalen McClain is going to retain that starting role. I think the versatility that he shows in terms of just being a ball hawk and the amount of ground he could cover and being a true pure cover safety and that facet, that he's going to start. But I also don't fault anyone that thinks Malik Hartford would start, because he plays very similar to what Lathan Ransom did. And we saw the best tandem of safeties in the country playing for Ohio State last year. So I could definitely understand why you would pick that, right? Like, I don't think it's a far-fetched theory. And I think this position battle right there for that last safety spot is probably going to be the most competitive position battle in the whole fall camp.
Yeah. Going to be a lot of competition there. And same with this next position, the corners and the nickel position. We're going to assume we got Matthews and Iggy on the outside with Lorenzo starting at the nickel position. This is my number 3 as far as I don't think it's going to shake out like that. I haven't quite narrowed down exactly what it's going to look like, but I will tell you that, I think it's going to be Matthews and Iggy on the outside, but I think that nickel position is one to keep an eye on. There's a lot of good talent in there with Bryce West and what he's been able to do to push Lorenzo Styles for that. So that makes my number 3 for my list as far as keep an eye out there. The more I hear, the more I lean towards Lorenzo Styles, right? End up winning this one out. But I don't know, man. So keep your eye open there. This room is just packed, loaded with so much talent. It's kind of ridiculous when you look at it. Mello, what about you in our corner position?
So this made my number 1. This was actually my number 1 position group. I strongly believe there's absolutely no way you're keeping Devin Sanchez off the field. He's just that talented. He's that physically gifted. He's that smart. He's that has that much fluidity in his hips. And like, to me, he's a Jeff Okudah 2.0. Like, he could shut down an entire side by himself. Jermaine Matthews has been doing a lot of cross training at nickel during winter workouts and spring camp. So that's why I think what I think is going to happen is they're going to keep Iggy outside for now, Devin on the outside, and then Jermaine's going to play a lot more nickel to begin with. That's my prediction. I think Devin is starting against Texas.
Yeah. This is actually a pretty hard exercise, man. I'm telling you, when you do this exercise, and if you're one of those fans that follows players like we do and knows the individual player, watch tape, the whole nine, you see how talented this team is, especially on the defensive side of the ball, man. It's really everywhere, dude. But when you look at our secondary and our safety room, you got Fahim Delane there as well. It's just like, man, there's so much star power in that room. It's kind of crazy. But man, you can't, in that scenario you talked about, Devin Sanchez, dude, you can't, cast him aside and not say that could be a chance right there. I mean, bro, he's the number one corner in his class for a reason. He's got the talent and the skill. We'll see what happens. There's so many different things there. I bet you Matt Patricia is just drooling at the mouth when he sees all these
Right. I
pieces
think
that
he's
we can
loving life right
use.
now.
Yeah, he has to be. So I'm all out, Mello. You got one left, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
So my
Well,
number 2 position is on the defensive line.
okay.
And I
All right.
have Caden Curry beating out Bo Atkinson for the other defensive end spot.
Well, give us the assumed starter.
Okay.
Tell us who you
So
think the assumed starters are.
the assuming starting positions will be KJ at 1 DN spot. You're gonna have Edric at the 3 tech. You're gonna have K Mac as the 1, and then you supposedly Bo Atkinson right now. I think a lot of people feel like he's penciled in to start. But that's where I think Caden Curry is going to show up and show out, and I think he's going to start. But I feel like this is also similar to the running back room where they're going to be rotating so much that there won't be a true starter. You wouldn't be able to tell if you just look at snap counts. But just for the purpose of this exercise, I think Caden Curry is going to be the one to get the initial snaps, the initial first series reps, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, it does. I think this might be one of those position groups where people's assumed starter list might look different, right? And it's exactly what you're talking about here. Because if I'm going to be honest with you, right, if I were to give you my assumed starter list, it would still be Caden Curry over Bo Atkinson. So that's who I think is going to start.
Okay.
But there's a huge part of the fan base. You are correct in saying probably a bigger a bigger part of the fan base assumes Bo Atkinson is going to be starting. And it's just a hard one because, man, he's a dog. You know,
he is.
I mean? You go listen to the North Carolina podcast when they lost him, dude. That's how you can know what type of player we're getting, man. They were devastated to lose him as a player. So,
and it's also depending. We're assuming that we're just going to run a 4-2-5 again. Matt P might switch it up. We might have 3 down linemen as well, So, like, this is all dependent upon that we stay with a 4-2-5 because obviously if we go to 3 down linemen, it changes everything.
Well, let me give you my prediction. We're not sticking with the 4-2-5. That's my prediction. I think we see the 4-2-5, but I think we see a lot of 3 linebacker sets on the field with Arvell Reese standing up at defensive end. That's just me. That's my prediction. I think we see quite a bit of that, and I think it's just going to depend. They might try out the 4-2-5, and they're running out of some rotation players in the defensive line. If that's one of our worries, I think they switch it up. But
okay, hold on. I got a question. We're going to stay right there because you just said that. Against Texas, are we in a 4-2-5 or are we in some other defense thinking about their offense and how they like to play?
Man, that's a good question, dude. This is Matt Patricia, dude. I think he comes out and just shocks the crap out of him because one would assume with Texas, man, all these players know that 4-2-5 system. Do they dare come out in a new system against probably their top competition? No, not probably, the top competition they could possibly face. Because I got Ohio State as the number 1 team this year, and I have Texas as the number 2 team. So, man, it wouldn't shock me at all. Matt Patricia comes out, dude, and just throws a wrench at him, dude. But I don't know. I think I'm going to stick with it's wishy-washy. You caught me on a
this is tough, right? It's a tough one.
That
Kat,
is
what do you think?
one.
Are we going to stick to a 4-2-5 against Texas, or do you think Matt Patricia's going to switch it up and give them something they haven't seen and something they can't prepare for all
season? Especially with Manning, new starting quarterback, man, it might be all about that pressure. That might be their number 1 game plan, which isn't a bad game plan, but Steve Sarkisian really loves to sneak that running back out of the thing, which the 3 down lineman would help us in that scenario as well, kind of eliminate that. If you think about that, that's the only dagger that they had on us last year, is that freaking running back, man, sneaking out of the backfield and always bailing them out in the last second. So
to be fair, one of their touchdowns, KJ was getting held when they hit the running back on Sonny Styles. KJ was getting held on that play. But
Yeah.
we can't cry about that. We still won the game.
Yeah. No. That's why you leave no doubt. That's why Jack Sawyer made
Yeah.
sure to not leave doubt, because he was part of the teams when they left some doubt and gave whatever the universe the opportunity to take from them what they probably deserved, which was a win over Georgia, and Clemson, and a couple other people as well. But here we go. Last position group, linebacker. Assuming we're going to have two linebackers on the field, I think this is pretty locked down with Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese. But again, like I said, anytime I think you're going to see a lot of three linebacker on the field at the same time with Peyton Pierce, Arvell Reese, and Sonny Styles, because, man, I don't know if I go based off what I've been hearing. Man, I heard Peyton Pierce's name a lot.
Yeah.
I heard Arvell Reese's name a lot, and I heard Sonny Styles' name a lot, like coming out from the defensive side of the ball. I just did, especially Peyton Pierce. He really has come on, and I think, they're going to get him on the field as well. So got some options switching that up. What's your thoughts on the linebacker
I think if
position?
we go two linebacker set, just assuming off of the formation, we can only assume what we saw last, which is a 4-2-5, right? So assuming that we're running that, I mean, I think this is the most locked up position group outside of having Optimus Prime and Carnell Tate and Brandon Ennis. So I think there's no chance that those two aren't starting unless something catastrophic happens, which I pray does not.
So who was it that took was it Lathan Ransom? I know Lathan Ransom took Oregon's running back out and Tennessee quarterback. Did he also take Manning out, or was that Sonny Styles with the concussion on Manning?
Lathan Ransom took out Manning. With Tennessee, when Nigel got his helmet cracked, that was Sonny.
Okay. All right. So I got him mixed up a little bit there. Yeah, we just need Lathan.
Well, we were at that game. We saw that live, man. That was a crazy hit on the running back at Oregon, man. I love that one.
Yeah.
The crowd went crazy. Remember that?
Yeah. When you can hear a hit in the Rose Bowl, there was some force behind it. And I promise you, we heard it. You could hear it from the stand. So it was pretty big time. But hey, man, I know we get caught up in recruiting and, oh my gosh, we're losing all these defensive linemen and we're not winning these recruitments. But you want to put a smile on your face, just go through the roster, dude. Go through the roster. And football is it's so one play can change everything.
Right.
Once you reach a certain talent point, man, the ball just needs to roll your way sometimes. It just needs to go your way sometimes. But that being said, man, you are absolutely insane if you don't think that Ohio State has the firepower to go out here and run the gauntlet again and win this natty. I mean, bro, the top two PFF rated returning players, that in itself, I might be crazy to say that. I mean, JJ Smith's presence by himself can give you enough on offense to have a shot at winning the natty, because of what teams are going to have to do. They're going to have to scheme defensively for him every single game. And then you got Max Clare, Brandon Ennis, and Carnell Tate. I mean, my goodness gracious. Like, what are you supposed to do with that? So we have the offense for sure. Biggest question is obviously defense, man. Is Matt Patricia going to be able to come in here and not do what Jim Knowles did, and that's take 3 years to implement a system, right? There's number one. And I'm not worried about that. This dude coaching the NFL, right? He's so used to players moving around, changing this, changing that, and coming in, bringing some NFL system to this defensive scheme that he's got. I think it's going to work out. Great. But, that's the question. For me, that's the question. Actually, that's my number two. Number one would be Julian Sain, obviously. But if you think about it, bro, it was number one last year, too. We're going to go as far. What did we say last year? We're going to go as far as Will Howard's going to take us, right?
And we also said Will Howard fit the system that they wanted to run perfectly.
Yeah, perfectly. But, I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to not say that that's your number one question every single year. How far can our quarterback take us? Now, obviously, when you got C.J. Stroud at quarterback, the first year he starts, you're going to have that question. The second year he starts, he can take you.
Right.
So that's not your number one question, but that is this year. Number two for me is definitely to see what we can do on defense. Are we able to stop the run? Are we going to have that goal line stuffing ability? Because I'm going to tell you, that's a pretty big time underrated aspect of last year's team, their red zone defense. You know
Yes.
how much energy that just takes out of a team when they are
Yeah.
first and goal and cannot score any points. No field goal, no
Nothing.
nothing, dude. That just sucks the absolute wind out of you. It's a nice thing to have. I would almost say that's on the list of kind of a must have. You have to have that ability to get that stop, right? When an offense is just running straight at you. So
And
I think
honestly,
we
that
can.
is the big question, right?
Yeah, it
Are we
is.
going to have enough beef up the middle to stop them on short yardage situations? I personally think we do, but we also it still has to play out and see, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. I think that our D tackle depth is a lot deeper than people are giving it credit for. So I'm going off of that, especially because if it was really super bad, Ryan Day would go out and get somebody.
Yeah. I know.
Just
We've
to
had
add to
that
the depth.
Yeah.
But yes, my number one question is obviously Julian saying, but I have a lot of confidence in him coming out of high school. What he did at the Elite 11 against some top tier quarterback. That quarterback class was pretty daggone deep, right? And I watched every play of it because you could watch it on YouTube at live. I remember we were watching it together, matter of fact, and he dominated that competition against some heavy hitters, right? He went down to Bama. Nick Saban wanted him very badly. So did Bob, wanted him very badly. And then as soon as Saban left, he bounced and came up here, right? So, and then when he came up here, Air bounced, Air left, right? And Air was supposed to be that guy. I watched Air. He was really good, but he left and he went to a school that he knows he's not even going to start at. So that should tell you how good Julian is. And then we have Will Howard was talking about him during the combine interviews. And JJ Optimus Prime just was talking about him, raving about how elite he is, how he can make every throw, and he has incredible arm talent. So I'm very high on him. It just we need to see him do it in real time when bullets are flying. Um, but what else makes me confident in him besides being surrounded by great running backs and wide receivers and tight ends is that offensive line. I think is going to be one of the best, if not the best. In my opinion, I think they'll probably win the Joe Moore Award, but if not, they're at least going to be top three. So I'm pretty confident that he'll be well protected and have enough time to get rid of the ball. And against most teams that we're going to play, we're going to out talent them anyway. But yes, the next question that I have is what kind of defenses is Matt Patricia going to run? Now we've talked to a lot of recruits, a lot of people that have gone to and saw them practice, and they said to us directly, like, this defense is going to be better than last year's defense. I know it sounds crazy, but we've heard that from several different people, 7 different recruits, 7 different recruits' parents. So I just want to see it. I want to see it. And if it is what we think and what we're hearing, we're going to be in good shape to go back to back. And how about this? If we go back to back, what do you think is happening the next year when Julian's in his second year? Chris Henry's on campus. JJ's in his last year.
Yeah.
That could be scary.
Yeah, it really could be, man. We had the number 1 defense last year. So do I think the defense is going to look way different, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to change how you rate defenses because, everybody's going to have a different rating on how good they think a defense is, right? So, for instance, this year, I think we have more sacks. I really, really do. I think the pressure gets turned up on the quarterbacks, but I could see us having a little more issues stopping the run. I think that could happen. It could not happen because, as I said before, we go through stages as fans. We have different freak out moments. Right now, we're freaking out about defensive line recruiting. Before, we were freaking out about our defensive end depth, and then it went to the defensive tackle depth, right? And like I said before, right, everybody's judging these backup defensive tackles based off what we've seen in the past, based off the fact that Jason Moore hasn't really seen the field yet. When he did, we weren't real happy with what we saw. Same with Will Smith Jr., same with who's Ole Miss transfer baseball player. What's his name?
Malone.
Tywone Malone.
I think he's a big key to this.
Yeah. But the point is these players can change.
Right.
They can get better, right? That switch can flip in their mind. Whatever has been holding them back, which man, when you look at Jason Moore, when you look at Tywan Malone, I mean, the only thing I could think that is holding them back is something mental. There's some type of mental block there with either getting the playbook down or something, because physically, Jason Moore, I mean, it come out of Larry Johnson's mouth several times. He is the perfect, what I think he said, 3 tech or 1 tech, something, the perfect whatever. His body style, his strength, everything combined there. So that can happen. It's a thing that happens with football players, man. It takes 1 year for them to come out. Who was it? I don't even want to try to say a name, but man, I know. Why do I want to say Pat Alfline? I know that's not it, but who only started their senior year and ended up being a huge draft pick on our offensive line? Chat, I know you're going to know who it is. Dang, I forget. But either way, they're people, they're humans, so they have the ability to do that. So I'm just not going to write them off before we get the chance to see
I
him.
think you made a good point about
Corey Lindsley. That's it. Thank you, Tyler.
The run stopping, right? So yeah, we could take a step back there. I could definitely see that for sure, because I think it's going to be hard, even with the DNs that we have, to run support like Jack and JT did last year. But what I do think that they will make up the difference at is turnovers. I think we're going to have more turnovers this year than we did previously. I do think we're going to also have more sacks this year. And I think both of those go hand in hand.
You know, I love it, dude. I love preseason. I love talking about what we think we're going to see, because for the most part, everybody's wrong.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, for the most part. I mean, last year, even me, I think we were on board with, dude, what's this offensive line going to do? What's this offensive line going to do?
Absolutely.
And then, I mean, they were the foundation of this team last year. That's just what it is. With what they had to go through and their ability to hold this thing together the way they did, they went from possible weakest, players on the field to the foundation of why we won a national title. You know,
absolutely, 100%.
Like, I love it, man, because people can always surprise you, man. You can look at somebody's history for the past 10 years. They could have made this decision and done this, and then the next year they completely change, do something different. So I know a lot of people don't believe that. They think people can't change, but well, I praise the Lord we can, because absolutely. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I wouldn't be alive. But yeah, man, overall excited, super good place. Like always, we here at the Buckeye Boys don't get all caught up in star rankings, don't get all caught up in recruiting. And I would venture to say that we probably are in the 1 percentile of this fan base with the amount of time and energy and effort we put into recruiting. I mean, you see what we do here on this channel, and we don't get worked up about it, right? We see the Cameron Brickles, the JJ Perez's, we see the ability that they might have. And, you might think that LJ is missing on the, as far as star rankings or whatnot, but one thing you cannot take from him is his development. What's he been here at Ohio State 11 years, and he's got 20 draft picks. You know what I'm saying? So all these guys that we think might not live up to it, LJ's the denominator there that changes that. It changes the normal outcome of a 3-star, right? We have an idea of a 3-star in our mind, and we think, this is the kind of player that they're going to be. Well, when you add the block O to that equation and Larry Johnson, that changes everything. I mean, Tyleek Williams is an example. Ty Hamilton's an example. There's example after example there of what could happen. So we'll have to wait and see those results there. But chat, now's your time to shine, man. Put something in there. You got questions for us, let us have it. We got about 10. Well, nope, we got 9 minutes here. Somebody put a question in there, and we will give our thoughts on it if appropriate. Don't ask.
And man, I'm going to say this: JJ Perez. I don't think people realize how good that kid is. He is going to be special. That kid is going to help us win a natty at some point. I'm serious. He is so underrated. A true 1 tech that was going to eat up double teams easily. So this D line is a lot better than what people think. Kari Wilder, we just watched what he did to Felix Ojo, just straight up embarrassed him, made him look like a little child. And this is the guy that Texas Tech paid 5.1 million guaranteed money to.
Yeah, I know. Me and Funky talked about it last night, Mello. We all are upset with LJ because he's missing on these high 4-star, 5-star players when, and Brian Hartline can go win 5 stars with less nil money. Why can't Larry Johnson? He can, and he is.
Yeah.
Kari Wilder, less nil. He is a 5-star type of defensive end. Like, if you don't believe that, I don't know what to tell you. Damari Simeon, definite high 4-star, top 10 defensive lineman in the nation, less nil, won that recruitment, won the Luke Waffle recruitment. He committed to the Buckeyes for less money, but then got given that bag, son. So another win for Larry Johnson. Carter Meadows, same type of scenario. I don't have the exact details there, so I can't outright say Larry Johnson won that recruitment, but that's what I was told. So, I mean, I don't know. So
people have to understand it's a whole different game. And Ohio State is not paying these kids to come in to be the highest paid player in their unit's room. They're not going to upset that. That will cause so many problems because now you're going to have to restructure everybody else's contract or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, for sure. Man, so none are scheduled yet because I'm leaving. This is my last show for the week. Mello will be taking over after this. So we didn't schedule any for this week, but there's a couple that, Brandon Ennis and his mom, they'll be coming on the channel, which is going to be fire. I'm so excited to do that one. Angelo Smith, JJ Smith's little brother, we're going to be getting him on. So he's going to come on. There's a slew of 2027 recruits that, are going to be coming on the show. We just haven't scheduled them yet. We want to, we're in the heat of 2026 recruiting. So don't really want to do that yet. We'll bring that up at the right time. But I do got something really cool, Mello. I haven't shared this with you yet, but I'll tell you that Buckeye Boys got a phone call today, right, from a high school asking if we were interested in interviewing any of their players. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So
that is pretty fun.
Yeah, I happened to Lincoln High School here in Tallahassee. Got a couple players on there that have a couple D1 offers and whatnot. None that we have really spoke about on here, but I was talking to a guy about my handyman company and stuff. And, he had ended up watched our channel before. So we got that coming up too. A couple, recruits, about 4 or 5 of them actually we're going to get on here and just get a different side of the recruiting. Cause you got that other side too, with some of these D2, D3 schools. And that's what we're interested in. We love hearing success stories, man. And some of the stories of these kids, right? Football's that outlet for them. They can go down this path that leads to jails, institution, and death, or they can go down this path. And some people, that path is football. And I love that, bro. I love watching, right, a young man or a person pick the right route, man. They got that fork in the road and they go the right way. It pumps me up, it motivates me. I love it. I didn't do that at first, but I eventually found the right way to go. So
yeah, I like that too. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's about these kids becoming successful young men, and a lot of kids can't afford to pay for college. Let's just be quite frank, right? So getting your college paid for, even if you're not getting NIL and you're not a big time fish, but just getting college paid for and getting that free education to get a head start in life where you're coming out of college debt free, I think it's just amazing. And it's a testament to all the hard work these young men have put in and the support system that's around them.
I'm not going to lie, Ken Taco. I've never heard this before, but that's fire. And it's officially going on a Buckeye Boys graphic. Will Star? By the way, shout out Will Star yet again, sir. And not Win Stars Align. Sorry about that, Win Stars Align and Will Star. I don't know. You were on that show, right? Got a little confused there. But shout out Will Star, man. He been killing the game for us. All his thumbnails, that's all him. The different graphics we've been putting out, man. Now, I did do the Jeremiah Smith Heisman graphic, but there's a big mistake in that one. I don't know if anybody's caught it or not, but if you look at the details, I screwed up. but only one person, Bugsy's dad on Twitter, caught it, and he messaged us and said, "Hey man, did you know that this says this?" And I was like, "Oh crap, dude." Hopefully nobody notices. But culture is our currency. I think that's fire. Am I overreacting here, Mello?
No, that is fire. I was just about to say, oh, we're about to use that on the show from now on.
Bro,
And
I
then
think
you beat
Ohio
me
State.
to it. You said I'm gonna put it on Buckeye merch and stuff.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah. Charles, what happened to Pop's Pod? Nothing. We're still good. They're scheduled for every other Friday, right? So sometimes that every other Friday falls on a Friday they can't go. So
yeah, they're still humans and they
happened.
still have other children as well that are athletes as well. So you just have to bear with them a little bit and try to understand their situation as well. I like this one.
Let's see. Mylan Graham and Quincy Porter. I think we can throw. Here's my order, right? The biggest rising star, I think, currently on the offense. Man, that's tough, dude. Because you got Bo Jackson, right? You got Mylan Graham. You got Quincy Porter. You got Nate Roberts, who in the spring game just absolutely lit it up. Who else we missing?
Brandon Ennis is mine.
There's a slew of them. See, I consider Brandon Ennis a star already. I just do. But I know
mean, he's a star in terms of a household name, but in terms of productivity on the field, he's not there yet. I think he's gonna kill it.
Yeah. Hey, Taco, can the Buckeye boys have the rights to that saying, "Culture is our currency"? We'll shout you out every once in a while, but I really want to grab hold of that. You know, that's a game here on YouTube, right? You got other channels, so it's a competition. Who can come out with the cooler stuff? So I want to, Con 3 was founded by the Buckeye Boys, by the Buckeye Boys chat. Somebody in the chat said it. So that's a Buckeye Boys thing. If you hear a channel saying Con 3, it originated here at the Buckeye Boys. We're proud of that, man. Super proud, dude. Man. We're trying to take culture as our currency, too. I'm about to tweet that out. And I'm going to love watching all the Scum fans come over there and be like, "Oh, coping. Right. You got drinking a big glass of coping, man." Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know they will. Let's see if they keep that class together in 60 days.
Hey, it's Bugsy's dad. He heard me talk about, I appreciate that, Bugsy. Ain't nobody else noticed it so far. So you're the only one that noticed that. And, bro, I messaged you because I don't even know what that means. I don't even know why I put that in the graphic. But what
did you put in there?
And I can't tell you on live.
All right, we'll talk offline. We'll talk.
I don't want everybody to go search it up and look right at it and see the mistake I made.
Yeah,
we'll see. Drink. I saw you ask earlier. Yeah, I'm staying in Tallahassee. Only moving like 3-4 miles from moving out in the country. Get a little land, some trees in my backyard. Get me some more chickens and stuff.
Oh, I hope everybody had a good 4th of July. I forgot to say that. I haven't seen them since then. You might already shouted them out yesterday. And prayers up for all the flood victims out in Texas. That was horrific. I couldn't even imagine dealing with something like that.
Yeah, man, that was on my list to do yesterday. Add them to the prayer list, but forgot to do it. That's what a shame.
It's all good. You still got prayer list today.
Yeah, amen. Yo, do we got time? There's this 8:10. Let's get a quick trivia question in. It's been way too long. Let's get one in. It's only fair. Okay, Here we go. Oh, this is great. I know this answer. I knew it instantly. If I was on the other end of this, I'd probably win when I typed it in. Here we go. We're ready.
Yep.
Who scored the winning touchdown for Ohio State in the second overtime of the 2023 Fiesta Bowl against Miami? Steely got it.
Go figure. Hey, we're about to ban Steely from answering.
I don't know. He's tied now. Steely was in second.
Oh, now yeah, but he was only in second because he missed like 10 shows in a row.
I know. It's funny. Yeah, the Natural was second there. He was right behind Steely, dude. and probably on his screen, it probably shows him first. On our screen, it showed Steely first. They're both tied at 12. A Meadows has 7. He's pretty close. Taco's got 7, pretty close. John has 4. Russ has 5. That's pretty much it, right? And Dennis helped us out. We got you added on the list. So if you get this ticket, man, and you want to come on the cruise that Dennis is in charge of, I've reserved a spot for 3 people. Mello, are you coming to that game?
I have to see the schedule. I have to see my daughter's schedule. It's her last season as a senior, so I can't really miss any games, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. Let me know as soon as you can.
I will. I got you.
I got a list of people coming. So
I think the schedule comes out the end of July.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. All right, y'all. Hey, we appreciate the heck out of everybody that's watching. We appreciate you guys always coming here. Help us get to that 5,000 mark, please. We need like 62 more subscribers. Go tell some friends, whatnot. Hit that like button for us. We're a fan channel. We do this for you. This is for fun. Any revenue that comes into this channel immediately leaves, goes directly back out into support our causes with our super chats or to add to the ticket giveaways or anything, man. So we appreciate the heck out of everybody that supports this channel. Mello, any final words before we get off here?
We appreciate you guys. I'm going to do a show where we bring you guys on camera this week. If you guys want to come on and talk about whatever you want to talk about, we'll let you guys run the show and we'll just have a conversation and kick it. Yeah. Tomorrow, Brad will be on the show with me. So he'll be coming back on the show tomorrow. That's Kenyatta Jackson's dad. So if you want to tune in for that, I know a lot of you guys like him and enjoy him. So he'll be joining us tomorrow. So stay tuned for that.
Barb, it's the Buckeye Boys channel, right? So we stream on Scoop, but we also have our own channel, the Buckeye Boys with a Z. So if you don't know that, please go over there, subscribe to that channel, and support Scoop as well if you haven't done that. Right after this, man, Nevada, B. Moses, the new #1 show on YouTube. Get it how you live. We appreciate you guys for joining us. On that note, we love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Go Buckeyes. OH.
I-O.